I felt a lot of excitement working on that album. What it reminded me of, the way that we worked together, was the spontaneous approach that we had back in the Cosmogenesis days. But definitely both individually improved a lot as musicians in the time that had passed since then. The cool thing is we were a lot more on top of things than we were back in the day. So it was a lot easier for us now to communicate our vision. The songwriting for this album, we had a very spontaneous approach this time. Like, I feel we didn't really overthink or overanalyze things. So what happened, we were sending ideas back and forth, and sometimes I would have an idea that would have been the missing link in one of his songs or the other way around. We were like in a really creative flow, so I really feel like we could have easily written another album right away because the ideas, they just kept flowing. To me, that's always a sign that you're on the right track. You get up in the morning, you instantly feel that excitement, that you want to continue working on the ideas that you had. So we met a couple of times, of course. We do the digital thing like everyone does nowadays, but we also met in person, sat down with the guitars, really figured out like how things would work the best. We've always been huge fans of the guitar tone that Fredrik creates. It doesn't really matter what album you put in that he produced. It's like almost always the guitar tone is like a perfect example of what I would describe as the ultimate metal guitar tone. And it doesn't matter if you listen to like a power metal production that he did or like a death metal album that he did. If anyone had asked me what's your go-to guitar sound, I would always have referred to one of his productions.
Regarding the overall sound of the band, I think there are two things that make the band standing out of many other artists of the same genre. First, it's a fretless bass. Second, our signature guitar sound. So what I want to do is blending Obscura's signature sound we developed over 18, almost 20 years already with the experience of Fredrik Nordström. He's famous for his wonderful and fat sounding guitars. Finding the thin line in between is the big aim we are looking for regarding guitars.
The crunch sound is always the hardest part, for some reason.
Really? Now, if you think that sound works, then we can just use it, no problem.
I'm fine with that.
And the cool thing is what he didn't really do like a standard kind of recreation of any sound that he did on previous albums, but what he really does, he listens to the band and says, okay, what kind of sound would work best for the type of music that you play, and he really gets into it and he really takes his time to try different varieties and possibilities of amp and microphone combinations, cabinet combinations, to really find the perfect tone for the kind of style that we play.
But that's a lot of experience. It's a lot of experience. Will this work? Will this not? I hear it straight up when you set the tone, for example, for Obscura. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. That stuff I cannot do on the amp.
He'll use two different cabs with two different amplifiers, and he'll use the preamp section of only one of those amplifiers, and then he'll split it into the two different power amps, and they'll power two different cabinets. And on every cabinet he has two microphones placed in the Fredman style, using the Fredman technique, famous guitar sound technique. So every guitar track is actually 4 different guitar sounds blended together. So in total, if you have 2 rhythm guitars like they used for most of this album, you have 8 different guitar sounds that are blended together.
Depending on if you're going to quad track guitar, I use one amp first, and then I use a second amp second time if I'm quad tracking. This music is not good music for quad tracking, because quad tracking makes a wider sound, but it also makes a muddier sound. And most of the songs with Obscura don't need muddiness, it needs tightness.
From record to record, absolutely. He switches how much he blends the mics, which amplifiers he used to push the cabs, which cabs he uses to which amplifier, which levels of every microphone, all sorts of things. He just feels it in and it vibes right for the band.
Yeah, that's fun. That's also fun, just setting sound. Like this additional small stuff that can be like the spices of an album. If drum, bass, and guitar is the foundation, then all the tingle tangle, what you call it, on top, is fun.
Like the sound of rattling cables?
Yes.
It's more metal.
It's more metal, yeah. Especially when the grill of the speakers start. It's not allowed in there?
It's not that loud. No.
Oh, good.
Sag mal, was ist jetzt nicht zu gut wird, wenn du zwei Amps übereinander hast?
That's a lot of work. Yeah, but it's okay. It was a lot of jumping by the amplifier and switching cabinets and stuff like that. But you know, it's yeah, but that's fun. Acoustic guitar and electric guitar is two different instruments, even if they are like the same. But normally one of the hardest instruments to record, actually.
The gentlemen from Engel Amps, they sent us a brand new customized Savage 120 amp. This is my personal favorite amplifier for guitar tones, especially rhythm guitar tones. We combined it with Frederick's, well, magic. The results we heard so far underline exactly what we wanted to have. So for me, this is already a success.
It sounds Engel also, it does.
At the same time, it sounds like you in my ears.
Okay.
The not edited and pure guitar tones of all guitar lines we reamped so far is simply, well, exciting.
Obscura got an amp sent to them from Engel. It was a new Engel Savage 120. This was the second generation of it. Frederick dialed in all the tones. He mixed it his own way. He used the Fredman mic clips from Fredman Digital that you can buy on his website. You know, he was using a boost pedal, nothing crazy, boost pedal, gate, and one preamp with two different power amps. The Engel as the main sound. The Engel was the big boy, and you could hear that a lot. It definitely sounds German. But so far it's the guitar sound. I think it's sick. I've heard the other records, and so far I think the guitar sounds the best they've had so far.
There's a couple of surprises on this album that I think people will not really expect from this band. On the other hand, we still have some of the most technical and most brutal material that we have ever written so far in the history of this band. So out of all the Obscura albums, this one is definitely one with the most amount of guitar solos. There's definitely a lot of like trade-off guitar solos, 80s style. There's lots of like crazy harmonies going on. More is more, but never enough.